Now Lundquist has been playing Magic for quite a long time. AJ, first think that I saw him on the national stage maybe 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right. I'm not sure. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco here with Adrian Sullivan.
Hello.
We're rocking the booth here for SCG Live, the StarCityGames.com Open Series Legacy portion. We're about to start round 4 and watch Ben Lundquist versus AJ Sacher. In an interesting matchup here, or at least some interesting decks. We've got a Dark Depths combo, Counterbalance Top combo, Life from the Loam in there to protect the Dark Depths combo. So that kind of thing going on from Ben Lundquist. And then AJ's got a Trinket Mage deck with some Grim Lavamancers and Vendilion Clicks, and then a bunch of one-ups for the Trinket Mages to fetch. So AJ leads off with a, I believe, a Volcanic Island, which, well, he had a Volcanic, which got wastelanded, and then, yeah, I missed it too. I looked down, looked back up, and had to figure it out from what I could see. So,
turn 2, then Ben bringing out Underground Sea off of a fetch land, and then Thoughtseize is Brainstorm in response from AJ, protecting his hand.
all right, so he
can't quite tell what he's
I was going to say, what is he?
He's got a repeal in his hand.
Yeah. He says, all right.
Fire ice, land, and I think that's a repeal.
I believe you're correct. So what does he take here? He's basically just got 2 choices. Goes with the repeal. Seems right.
Yep. The repeal has the ability to spend 3 mana to bounce a counterbalance.
Yeah.
So.
And the Hex Mage is more there for the Dark Depths, so Fire Ice doesn't have too much value against the Hex Mage.
And then again, repeal versus a big token.
Yeah,
2020.
exactly.
How about back to your hand?
Back to your hand, yeah.
I'll draw a card. Another land from AJ using a Misty Rainforest. It looks like.
Yep, and he gets a Volcanic Island. And so he's just got those 2 Fire Ices in his hand. He's going to
during upkeep, he ices to Rashad in port, so to speak, the Underground Sea.
Oh, I thought he just had the Fire and Ices in hand left, but he had the rest of his hand just sitting down, I guess.
But he had the lands. Yeah.
Oh, there's a Dark Depths from Lundquist. Wasteland from AJ.
Dark Depths and Underground Sea there. Wasteland, Volcanic Island, Tropical Island for AJ. Now we see a Volrath Stronghold.
Yeah.
End of the turn here. Vendilion Click attempted by AJ. It resolves. Before the triggered ability happens, a Go for the Throat from Ben Lundquist to kill it. Looks like a Force of Will, Jace, Counterbalance, Force of Will, and a card in the center. I can't quite make that out.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell myself. Is it?
Could be a Boomerang. It could be a Mirage Boomerang.
I think that could be right. Yeah, we see Force of Will, Jace counterbalance, and something in the middle there that...
I'm going to say that's either a Mirage Boomerang or it's an alternate art for something.
It's not in the deck. It reminds me, it kind of looks like a memory lapse in a strange way, so I'm sure somebody...
Again, not in the deck.
Right, exactly. Okay, it's a boomerang.
Yeah, that's right. I cast Mirage Boomerang many a time.
Scalding Tarn from AJ. And passes the turn back to Ben. Ben plays a beautiful unhinged swamp. And passes back. AJ draws, and a little bit of draw go happening right now.
When those full art lands first were made the appearance on the scene, I think people kind of just, their jaws dropped a little bit. I'm glad that Wizards doesn't do it all the time. Remember either Mark Rosewater or someone writing an article about why they don't do it all the time. I think it's nice as a special treat. Every once in a while, give us the Zendikar land, give it there for unhinged. At the end of the turn, it looks like he dropped down a token off of the Dark Depths.
Yeah. It's, I guess, why not, really? I'm in the other camp where I think they should just do it kind of like they did with black bordering the core sets. Just, why not make all of the lands look that great? Why not showcase the art on cards that don't really require any text? There's a Hex Mage. But,
there's the combo assembled.
Yeah, there's a Wasteland in play, though. He says,
Here's another one. Yeah, AJ going a little preemptive there.
Yeah, Rashad is commenting about why not wait until he sacks the Hex Mage before wasting. That die is a very big die. Oh,
I guess that makes
that one's
a nice
different
2020 flying token.
Yeah. Where's the Merit Lage tokens? Rashad, are you looking for a Merit Lage token? I had one. Certainly don't have it with me. I don't think I even have it anymore. Pretty sure I sold it. Or traded it. But there's a Foil Misty Rainforest, I think? Or yeah. Rashad has a token to use.
Okay.
It may be a Rashad
Tappy
token.
tappy.
I'm curious to see what Rashad throws onto the battlefield right now. I'm going to see something come in the middle there. It's Rashad!
Yeah, now that is a 2020.
Yeah. So, Rashad as Merit Lage is tapped by the ice portion of Fire and Ice. Ben drops a Bloodstained Mire into play. AJ drops a Jace.
Good play.
And a Force of Will from Ben will cause AJ to scoop it up. That Jace would have been quite a dangerous card for that Rashad token. But
that was his last shot there. And as Rashad mentioned, I think one of the things that that AJ might have been going for is he might have been putting that Wasteland there, activating it because it was his main phase, and thinking to himself, then I'll just put out like some sort of threatening card like an Engineered Explosives to clean up the mess afterwards. No big deals, you know, no harm, no foul. And then this Engineered Explosives does work, right? But instead, Ben just lets it happen and then drops another one.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like AJ would have been better off just, you know, not even knowing that Ben had another Dark Depths, but just waiting until the Hex Mage was gone and unavailable for Ben to sacrifice anymore to decide to Wasteland the first Dark Depths. In that case...
Yeah, that's the way that normally that would be played out.
Right. Yeah, in that case, the second Dark Depths still needs the second Hex Mage. Alright, let's take a look at the
sideboard action.
The sideboards, yeah. We've got... AJ's got some Pithing Needles for... To potentially stop that combo if you'd like. He's got 2 of those.
Pyroblast, always of value.
Yeah, very nice there. Threads of Disloyalty.
I wouldn't be surprised if a Vendilion Click joins the one that's already in his library just as a means to force an end-of-the-turn moment of action.
Yeah, I think Threads of Disloyalty seems like an interesting card to bring in against the Merit Lage.
Absolutely. It can steal the Hex Mage, well, kill the Hex Mage, and it can steal a Merit Lage.
The Merit Lage, yeah. I think that's the the value out of that card. So
Ben Lundquist, he's got Croson Grip. Dark Confidant seems like it could be a real issue.
Note, AJ also has Meekstone to keep the Merit Lage from
if he can tap it.
Yeah. Right, well, I mean, he's got Fire Ice. We saw him do that once. He's got 4 copies of Fire Ice in his main deck, so...
Duress also available for Ben Lundquist here.
AJ actually has quite the sideboard for Dark Depths, it seems like. I mean, Fire Ice seems like a really good way of just buying a little bit more time, and if he can land a Meekstone for it, seems decent. But aside from that, he's also got Pithing Needle, which is 2 copies of that. Threads of Disloyalty to steal the Merit Lage. And of course, Repeal in his main deck. Stifle, 4 copies of Stifle also there to keep the Merit Lage token from showing up. I'm just taking a look at AJ's ways to fight this deck. Of course, the Stifles are there more for the Phyrexian Dreadnought, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Lundquist taking out some of the combo-rific elements of the deck, like, say, the Limb Duels Vaults or other things that are there for speed, and replacing them with cards like Dark Confidant. You know, he's playing against a deck with Force of Will and with other ways to resist him. A Dark Confidant can be a way to, instead of going for speed, slow down a smidge and go for resiliency.
Yeah. And of course that makes AJ, any sort of sideboarding that AJ does against the Dark Depths combo, just either irrelevant or just very weak.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about the Dark Confidant is that because it can be a card, if unanswered, can just run away with the game, it kind of requires that you keep some sort of creature kill in if it's on the table, you know, like... That could be the only creature in your deck, and yet your opponent would want to have ways to get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like the guys are taking a look at their openers, and they both look pretty happy with them. And so AJ leads with Misty Rainforest foil. Which, thank God he moved it there, else I couldn't tell what it was. But there's a polluted Delta from Ben Lundquist.
It's a very attractive-looking land there from AJ. You can definitely see a Force of Will in AJ's hand. Looks like a Pyroblast as well. Stifle. Oh. Ouch.
Still there on the stack, though. It's the 1-mana Stone Rain, but still can be countered.
when you get a stifle going in this kind of matchup, it can just be so devastating. Fighting over the card with Force of Will, it's something that you can do, but God, if they come back and they counter it back, it's just so devastating. Pyroblast here to protect the stifle. Or if they Pyroblast or Spell Pierce. And here, AJ has actually gained card advantage as well as gained mana advantage.
Yeah.
That waste your land, or pardon me, stifle your fetch.
Right.
You force it, I pyro it. What a just
That's
total
huge.
destructive moment for AJ.
Yeah, that was a huge swing right there.
This is definitely a control matchup, essentially, in these early stages of the game.
So, AJ resolving a brainstorm in response to Ben's brainstorm on the stack still. And the brainstorm on Ben's side resolves.
Do you like the Grim Lavamancers in AJ's deck after sideboarding?
Honestly, I think that could be one of the cards that he cuts because it doesn't seem that effective against really anything that Ben's doing. It could kill Dark Confidant, but so can Fire. You know?
Right.
Otherwise, it's just not that effective. There's not even any creatures besides Vampire Hexmage. And I don't think Ben is exposing the Hexmage to a Grim Lavamancer when he's not, you know, he's going to play that Hexmage when he can get value out of it with the Dark Depths combo, I would think. But as you said, he may even have moved the Hexmages or the combo elements out of the deck. So, 3 Volcanic Islands on AJ's side of the board, and he's about to play Misty Rainforest, and that's what he does. Passes a turn. We have a draw-go kind of situation happening here. Ben cracks a Polluted Delta, and here we have another Stifle from AJ.
Bird's game now. It's not the best talk I've ever seen in a prototype.
That's cool. Really cool.
Yeah. See the size of that thing? Everybody's like, I thought it was just me.
I apologize for the noise. So, right now, we got another Stifle there on the stack. Excited Magic player came by to show us his
His playmat.
his playmats, so apologies if that was distracting at all.
Yeah, so Force of Will for the Stifle and a second Pyroblast. So
Looks
not only
like,
was that devastating the first time, but it's devastating the second time.
Did I just see that happen twice?
Yeah, that
Did
happened.
we go back in
twice.
time?
Yeah, that was quite... Oh, wow. So, Dark Depths from Ben.
Spell Snare and Force of Will still in AJ's hand. Draw go.
Yep. And there's a
Brainstorm
brainstorm from
main
Ben.
phase.
He is just digging for some way to get into this game. It resolves.
Our head judge from yesterday, Uta, there.
Mm-hmm.
Is she the head judge for the whole event? Just for yesterday, head judge, sitting there, table judge.
And there's an Underground Sea, which plays a Sensei's Divining Top. This could
Ooh,
be what
it's a big
Ben
card.
needs, yeah, to help get back into
I think
this.
AJ is considering casting a hard cast on that Force of Will here.
Yeah, he very well could. And no, it's a Vendilion click.
Intuition, Life from the Loam. That is a huge card to be able to hit.
It looks like Dark Blast.
Could be a Dark Blast, maybe from the sideboard.
Oh yeah, there it is. One Dark Blast.
Yeah.
And that's
Wow.
Is that what he took? Where'd it go?
He got rid
Or
of
went
the
to the
Dark
bottom.
Blast.
Yeah, it did. I'm looking for it in the graveyard. Forgot that it's Vendilion Click.
In comes the click. Upkeep. Sensei's Divining Top during upkeep in order to try to find more land and other action.
An island for Ben.
Vendilion Click untaps. Marches on in again.
Yep, there it goes. Ben down to 10. AJ has a Wasteland in hand, and there it is on the board now. I believe AJ also has a Jace in hand. Or no, it's Spell Snare. Wait, Spell Snare, Force of Will, and something else. And I thought it was a Jace, but I could absolutely have seen that. No, I don't think it's a Jace anymore. I think it's a Polluted Delta, possibly. So Ben tops at the end of turn and untaps. Finds
that
a land.
Urborg?
Yeah, I was gonna say is that Urborg, but it is looking at the wrong deck list.
Shizo, maybe?
It's Urborg.
Urborg, yeah.
And he passes back to AJ.
In again, relentlessly. Vendilion Click coming in.
Vendilion Click for the win. It's a good card.
See an intuition here. I would not be surprised to see this card Force of Willed. Now, the thing that the intuition makes AJ think about is the Dark Blast can come back into the mix, and that will stop this clock basically for good. Oh.
It resolved, so there's a Dark Blast sitting there on the bottom. Conveniently not letting Ben forget that it's there.
The question of what the other two cards are going to be is of interest.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself. Really doesn't matter. You know, the Dark Blast can go either way. Dark Blast, Polluted Delta, and Wasteland.
I think he has to give his opponent Wasteland here. Go ahead, have the Wasteland.
Yeah, it seems like the most...
This keeps
the best one,
Ben Lundquist from being able to hit Life from the Low mana. Okay, a little bit of a checky check with this Sensei's Divining Top, seeing what's up, doing some reorganizing up the top of the library.
And he
looks like he's got the Polluted Delta.
Yeah.
He goes draw the Dark Blast, Dredge, put the
Dredges
Sensei's
away.
Divining Top back on top of the library.
He dredges away a Force of Will and Intuition and a land there that I'm not entirely sure what it is, but probably a fetch. Or potentially a fetch.
Now that there's going to be a Life from the Loam in the mix, this game is going to just push heavily towards Ben Lundquist. He only has 6 life, though, so he does not have much time to recover and keep himself from falling underneath the waves of that Vendilion Click.
He does have the Dark Blast in hand. And there's a Life from the Loam.
And there's our first counter spell, Spell Snare. Dark Blast and Force of Will in Ben Lundquist's hand. Okay, he says. This is probably going to be an upkeep Dark Blast, I'm going to guess. There it is, upkeep Dark Blast.
AJ looks like he may have something to say about that. I think he scooped up 5 lands, so it shouldn't be any shock to see a Force of Will.
AJ is down to so few cards. This is actually a really dangerous position for him. I mean, if he fights this fight, it's just going to be a fight he has to fight again next turn.
Right.
But if he doesn't fight this fight, he's giving up all of that clock that he's put on Ben this whole game.
Right. Seems to me that you know, he's got a Force, and I'm not sure what else in hand.
I can't tell that last card either.
Yeah.
Cast the Force hard.
Seems good. I think that's what you do, because make him have to
Attack for 3. Get rid of the Bayou so that the Life from the Loam can't start right away. Say go. Now the Dark Blast is going to come back. And at this point, since Ben is in a position, there's a Limdual's Vault that goes to the yard. Since Ben is in a position to lose, he's just going to actually maybe wasteland that land first, that Volcanic Island, maybe, but perhaps not. But Dark Blast during the main phase.
Yeah, I think basically the idea was
Wasteland the Wasteland protects his Dark Depths. Now he's got he's holding back a Force of his own, and now AJ needs to get something going, or else it's going to be really problematic. 1 removal on the Dark Depths to get a little tick closer towards Merit Lage.
So in AJ's hand, I believe I see a Spell Snare.
Brings back the Dark Blast just so that he can have protection against a Vendilion Click should it come into turn.
And there's a Fire Ice. That'll make things interesting.
Clicks things down again. Another click down. Is that a Thoughtseize? Got a Stifle there. And again, Ben Lundquist ticking it down. There we have a Hex Mage. Look at this. Ben Lundquist has fought back from the huge advantage that AJ Sacher put on him from that turn 2 Stifle that he Force of Will to keep from happening to kill his land, followed by a Parablast, and then having it happen again. AJ just could not capitalize on that advantage. We see some Brainstorm. AJ looking for some action here.
We've got Stifle, Spell Snare, Fire Ice, Fire Ice.
Wow, he's actually got a kill in his hand if he can, if it can resolve.
Exactly.
Attack for 2. That's not too meaningful. Urborg.
Why he keeps tapping that fetch land?
Why are you tapping it? Urborg. Urborg. There you go.
That's what it is.
See?
Thank you, because I was wondering too.
Fire 1 and 1. And sacrificing to try to make that Dark Depths into Merit Lage. Stifle.
These counters are removed, right?
Yeah.
And then is this in the graveyard?
No, it just stays there.
Ben checking
Just make
things
sure
out.
how this works. See
Yeah.
what
No
happens.
counters.
Make sure you can stifle that, but it seems
When they're-
stifleable.
Well, it's possible he might have announced the wrong thing. He could have announced something that didn't quite work.
He could have just said stifle. What?
It says when it has no colors on it. So
What'd you say?
if there's re-triggers again, because like it always triggers when it has no colors on it.
Yeah. I mean, if he stifled the dark depths, is there anything to? It depends on the
Let me look at dark depths real quick.
wording of dark depths.
Unless they changed it from Dark Depths
I've never had
PTQ
it
season.
stifled before, so.
The wording doesn't change really, right?
No.
It's when it has no ice counters on it,
You can
sacrifice
stay
it.
in play.
If you do, put an indestructible
Yeah.
legendary black avatar creature token. So that's what's confusing is that when it has no ice, yeah, when it has no ice counters on it,
There's
sacrifice
two
it.
triggers.
And then
So
it's,
he
if
can
you
be like,
do-
well, which trigger did you do? Yeah, the Hexmage activation is too late. So the question here is, what was being stifled? The Vampire Hexmage was in play, and the Vampire Hexmage removed the tokens that were left on the Dark Depths. And then after that resolved, that was happening, and then AJ stifled. But there are two triggers
On
that
the Dark
possibly
Depths.
exist with the Dark Depths. When Dark Depths has no ice counters on it, sacrifice it. That's a trigger. If and when are our triggers that we usually use for our rules text.
Okay, here it is. Here's a clarification. Dark Depth's last ability is a state trigger. It will not trigger again while the ability is on the stack, but if the ability is countered and Dark Depths is still on the battlefield with no ice counters on it, it will trigger again immediately.
Right, and I'm pretty sure that Ben Lundquist knows that. He's saying, hey, this is what you triggered. This is what you went after. It's still going to go off.
Right.
I think that's what the conversation that they're having is.
Yeah, that's interesting board state. Interesting situation. So, Brian Kibler here standing by.
Wandering to view the camera.
He's excited to play in the draft open now.
I was excited to play Legacy, and I was excited to play Standard. Now I'm excited to play Draft. I'm excited to play Magic.
Right, what did you lose to?
I lost to a Natural Order Bant deck. I thought seized him in game one. Both games he was able to hide some good cards on top of the deck with Brainstorm when I thought seized him, and in both games he continued to draw good cards after that too.
Right.
So, but yeah, like I thought seized him. Take his like 2-drop that he has in his hand. He plays a Tarmogoyf next turn, and then I play my Dark Confidant, and he plows it. The plow goes on top of his deck. Then I vindicate his Tarmogoyf, and he forces it with the force of the next card of his deck.
Sounds like he was
so-
just very good at top deck.
So and then the next game
He
I
was
just
flipperized.
Yeah,
That's what I was
the
gonna say.
next game I had 2 Dark Confidants in play early, but just kept drawing land off them, and he was able to assemble Natural Order and kill me. So.
Oh, okay. I mean, you kept drawing land off them, which is usually a good thing.
Well, it's a good.
But when
it's
it's
a good
only
thing.
land.
Yeah, I mean, when you have 2 in play, you're generally able to erase most of what your opponent can do.
Right.
But my hand at the end of the game was like 5 more land in addition to what I had in play.
Right.
So,
Fair enough.
Now
Now you have the draft open.
Yep.
Just in time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was saying if I'm gonna lose, I want to lose by the time I
Right
can get
now,
this draft
yeah.
open. So, I already had 1 loss. I'm gonna pick up a second. Want it to be in time.
That's what's happening.
So here's what happened. He countered the Dark Depths trigger with Stifle is what is being ruled, and so in that case, the if clause doesn't happen. However, since there are still no counters on it, as we mentioned before, immediately once again it triggers. So unless you happen to have a limitless supply of free Stifles, you have to make sure that you do it at the right thing, stopping the Vampire Hexmage. Yeah, well, how many... Rashad says even if you have an unlimited amount of Stifles, well, I'd be like, how many would I declare? Because I have to declare a finite number. I will declare Googleplex. Oh,
Triggers again.
there it is, Dark Depths.
Could you stifle the if you do put an indestructible
No,
legend?
the trigger is one effect. The trigger
Okay.
is the trigger is sacrifice this,
Okay.
And if you stifle that, it isn't sacrificed, and then
Right.
the state-based trigger happens again.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, just trying to find a way to. I thought Stifle was a good card against Dark Depths.
It is. You get the Hex
but
Mage.
only the Hex Mage. But I mean the card Dark Depths. Yeah. So.
It's one of those situations where, sometimes there are these little corner cases that happen. If you're playing in a different moment in time, right? Interdict was the Stifle before there was Stifle. But one of the things that you don't really look at with Interdict basically has the same wording as Stifle, except for it says you can't activate the ability again this turn, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes people were like, they would be like, okay, that's fine, I don't care, I'll do it again. And you're like,
No. Yeah.
Well, Interdict was also back in the days of interrupts.
yes,
so
it was
had
an
to be-
interrupt,
yeah.
which was absolutely fabulous because I certainly remember watching somebody, actually having people walk by a table I was at where I had a Control Magic Frenetic Efreet, and they were like, how is that? Is your opponent stupid? And no one could tell that I'd interdicted his Frenetic Efreet because I Gaia's Blessed the interdict back into my library. So they just thought he was
One
really
sort
not
of
good.
interesting, similar interaction back with Dark Depths from around Pro Tour Austin when Dark Depths first broke out as a deck.
Right.
It's a Ghost Quarter.
Yes.
That if someone uses Hex Mage on Dark Depths, you want to actually respond to this trigger because this trigger requires sacrificing to put Merit Lage into play. If you respond to them sacrificing Hex Mage, if they have a second Hex Mage, they can just respond to that and get a guy. But if you respond to the trigger, that you destroy Dark Depths and they don't get the Merit.
Right. And remember in the first game, one of the things that happened is that AJ preemptively wastelanded with a Vampire Hexmage in play, preemptively wastelanded the Dark Depths.
Right.
Where in response, it could have just been, again triggered by his opponent, but he chose not to. He was like, you know what? Here's another Dark Depths. I don't even care. I can do that. Okay,
So,
now here we are. Rashad's in play.
Yeah.
2020. Is he?
Rashad's a big guy.
Can he be destroyed?
Okay. I think we're good, but it'd be good. I guess good to
Can we be?
get another clarification.
Pretty small. We figured it out.
Can Rashad be destroyed?
We'll have
It's
to look up Rashad on Gathering.
2020 indestructible.
So Rashad cannot be destroyed.
Rashad cannot be destroyed.
Oh my goodness.
So AJ really needs a. Ben is at
Looking
one.
for
He can also
he's looking
have
for a fire.
Well, he
There's
has
a
another
fire. And he was hoping that this will resolve. There's 5 mana open from his opponent. A hard cast Force of Will do it.
I'm kind of curious what did Ben just fetch? Is that why he went to 1? He was at 2 a second ago.
He was
The fire.
He was at 3.
Oh, he's a checky check. What do you got in your hand? He can't actually survive this turn unless he's got 2 Force of Wills in hand.
Well, he could draw one from. He could draw another way.
True.
But yeah, he's definitely in some trouble. I mean, there's a combination that also can stop Merit Lage.
There's the Force of Will. In
there
response,
it is.
fire.
Yeah.
AJ still pulls it through.
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening.
Oh, look at that. He's like,
Yeah.
I made it through that
I
one.
imagine for game 3, he's going to stifle something else if that comes up again.
Yeah, I think he'll have a
He
quite a
stands up for a
different handle
second.
on things.
He just is like, I need to walk around after that game.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, we need some extra time. Yeah. Sounds good. So is the head judge coming over here now? Is that is the judge coming over? Or is he coming? Okay, I didn't know if he was headed this way. So, well, then you come over here.
Yeah, Rashad actually, he says that he can tell us more about it, but I think he got a little bit camera shy.
Yeah.
One of the things about Rashad that many people don't necessarily know, Rashad is a famous judge in his own right.
Famous judge, absolutely.
It's true. There's this wonderful picture of Rashad with his arms up, the whole judge crowd's around him. Everyone loves Rashad. I think another famous photograph of Rashad is Rashad being hugged by Jared Silva, perhaps, with a bunch of judges around, all smiling and happy. It's true.
So quite an interesting turn of events there, where AJ seems to make a huge error. And
AJ using his invisibility cloak.
Right, he was playing invisibility, so he's no longer blockable.
Actually, he might have the One Ring,
He could have the one ring, right? Love to see some cards just shuffling in midair right there.
I don't think that if you have the one ring, that if you're shuffling cards, that anyone can tell.
Yeah, so the cards disappear, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think while you're holding onto the cards, if you've got the one ring on, I think that you can't actually be seen shuffling.
Yeah, I want to know the science behind the one ring, how exactly that works. It's like suddenly, if you pick something up, how much of it turns invisible? It's mirrors? I don't know if that answers my question. If he picks up, say, a broom, does the entire broom disappear? Or just the part that he's holding? No mirrors. The one ring is a mystical item.
Now,
Okay,
Rashad is importantly noting that the Harry Potter cloak does not function the same way as the one ring.
No. What if somebody wearing the one ring would put on the cloak?
Well, the same matter can't occupy the same space.
So, you put the ring on first, obviously. Yeah, you can feel it. You have absolutely no... Right. What's... Glenn just demonstrated how to put on the one ring when you can't see yourself. Right, whilst invisible.
Whoa.
So AJ has taken off the ring or the cloak, whatever it was that he was wearing, and he has reappeared at the table.
Now, one of the dangers of wearing the one ring too long is it really kind of puts a damper on your mood.
Yeah. I wonder how AJ's mood is now. It may be the one ring, or it may be the fact that he tried to stifle dark depths that put him in that mood.
I was about to say, I'm snap calling.
So we're going to a game 3 here, and obviously, you know, we saw a bunch of different confusion moments happen, I think, with that stifle situation before. And for those who are not clear, essentially, the basic situation, Vampire Hexmage, once its ability has resolved, yes, there is a trigger for stifle to stop a 2020 Rashad from coming into play, but then the Dark Depths is still empty.
Yep.
And so it triggers again. Joined in the booth here by Glenn Jones. This is round 4 of the Star City Games Open Series. I'm Adrian Sullivan, got Glenn Jones here with me. We're watching Legacy. Undefeated players, AJ Sacher and Ben Lundquist.
You know, I actually learned that trigger trick at SCGLA when Ricky quizzed me on what happens when a Platinum Angel faces a Darksteel reactor on 20 counters.
What happens?
What happens is the game draws because that trigger goes on the stack over and over, but it does nothing because the Platinum Angel keeps you from winning the game. And the game draws with infinite triggers stacking over and over.
One thing Rashad mentioned is if I brought up if you had a limitless supply of stifles that were somehow free, you could stop this.
Yeah.
Rashad noted though
that would draw
you
the game
actually though you would have to declare how many times
Sure.
you're doing these stifles, and then the moment you don't declare, Googleplex.
Well, that's fair.
There you go.
If you had infinite stifles, you'd have to pick. If you had a trigger that said counter every triggered ability that stacks, then it would draw the game.
We've got a turn 1 duress from Ben Lundquist, who here is on the play. You see the Grim Lavamancer is still in the deck. Grim Lavamancer, a potential answer to Vampire Hexmage if it's put down early, and also, though, can just nibble away at the life total.
Yeah, does it? Let's look at AJ's sideboard here. Interesting. Duress discarding a Brainstorm. AJ leading off with the Lavamancer.
Lavamancer via Sensei's Divining Top.
Swamp and a top activation. Then spins the top spots as one Wasteland, Thoughtseize, and a Vorash Stronghold. Puts the Wasteland towards the top, it looks like. Lavamancer pounding. And AJ passes turn.
Ben Lundquist, definitely no stranger to successful Magic. Several Grand Prix top 8s, a U.S. national team membership from his past, and even keel about his playstyle. Remember, there are stifles that come out of AJ's
And that's
deck.
why he waited during AJ's
Yep.
upkeep to do it, to make sure AJ would have to tap a land if he wanted to keep his land. Joey Pasco is back. I'm going to let him take over.
Okay, looking at that hand, we see some Pyroblast and other action. The Grivalava Manchester
Did you,
comes in for 1.
did you say Grivalava Manchester?
That's true.
I'm not sure I get that.
No worries, no worries. That's for about maybe 12 people out there in the audience.
All right.
Looks like we got an island there, fetched out by AJ.
And a Sensei's Divining Cup.
Top v top. Top looks at the top.
Yeah.
So, any format where you've seen commentary where tops are involved, particularly dueling tops, as in the counter-top matchup,
Right.
people end up saying the word top in numerous different meanings again and again and again.
Yep.
This is part of why I'm not too sad that Counterbalance has somewhat disappeared as a deck archetype. Thoughtseize from Ben Lundquist. See Spell Snare, Pyroblast, and 2 cards that are a little bit hard for me
Vendilion
to
Click?
say.
I think maybe that third one.
Is that a Force of Will Vendilion Click?
It could be. It's Vendilion Click and something with orange.
Yeah, the orangish makes me think Force of Will.
Right. Also reminds me of Mana Leak, so obviously it's not Mana Leak, but yeah, it is Force of Will.
Yep.
And that was Vendilion Click.
Ben remembers how much damage that last Vendilion Click did.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have to worry about trying to assemble the Dark Blast Dredge kind of thing happening again. So.
Did you already announce your friend KYT his results?
I did not. So for those of you who may be wondering about KYT and not following him on Twitter right now, is he played Affinity today. He borrowed some Tezzerets from me. What he doesn't know is that I cursed those Tezzerets, and so he went 1-3 drop.
1-3. Lundquist getting a green source here. This is a setup for later on, perhaps, for Life from the Loam. Life from the Loam didn't come into play last game, but it did threaten AJ in order to create a situation where AJ was forced to make the kill happen, or else Life from the Loam would take over. A little bit of topping.
You're studying from
Okay. Tormod's Crypt. A classic. It looks like that might be an Italian crypt.
You can tell
The color.
what language it is.
I've been playing a long time.
It's like the sheen on that card looks Italian.
Brian Kibler chimes in. He thinks it's also an Italian crypt.
Fair enough.
Vampire Hexmage comes down. Does it resolve? The Grim Lavamancer
Spell
tapped.
Snare for the Hex
Spell
Mage.
Snare. At Dark Depths hiding in Ben's hand.
So AJ doesn't know at all that Ben Lundquist has the Dark Depths. I didn't miss any sort of Vendilion Click earlier. He's only got one, doesn't he? Yeah, just one anyway.
Sideboarded in a second one, most likely.
Oh, right. I didn't see the sideboard. Yeah.
So now, that's interesting. Looks like the Dark Depths is tapping for mana, but I don't see Nurborg in play.
Isn't that Academy
Oh, is that Academy Ruins? My
Yeah.
bad. Missaw that. Thank you. The blue sheen should have given that away.
Yeah, what's wrong with that Dark Depths?
Yeah.
Looks just like Academy Ruins. I don't
It's been a
understand.
long day. You can see
there's
Counterbalance top trying to be assembled here
Yeah.
by Ben.
quite a...
There's a Force of Will in AJ's hand. I think a Pyroblast as well. It might be a Fire Ice, actually, but I think it's a Pyroblast. Something red.
cracks the Scalding Tarn there, which makes me think he's going for the. It makes me think it is a Pyroblast.
There's a question from Emmett Gore on the Twitter feed. How does Lundquist recur Vampire Hex Mages? There is
Volrath
a Volrath Stronghold in this deck, which is the original Academy runes. This one only for creatures, though.
So there's a Pyroblast on the stack, targeting that counterbalance. Ben responds by topping, looking at the top.
Yep, he's
with
going
the
to
top.
look for a blue spell for his Force of Will.
Yeah, and looks like he
There it is.
may have found it, yeah.
Yeah, he actually
There's
probably
some
had
force
that
for a force.
hiding on top. And then, conversely, we've got a top also looking for a Force of Will from AJ. I don't think he got it. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't played poker with AJ, so I'm not sure what his face looks like. But I don't think he got it. Oh, I'm wrong. Oh, man. Remind me not to play poker with AJ.
And you know what it is?
Pyro.
He found a Pyroblast.
Pyro, that works better.
Yeah. So you were right in that he did not find the blue spell.
Yes, I did not have... Oh, sorry. Wait, they did not help me?
They did not help.
Yeah.
They did not, I don't know. Is that another reference that I'm
Yeah,
missing?
Rounders.
Oh, you know, I've seen Rounders, but I don't
You
remember
were
that.
right. Did not help me. In this case, you were right. Not a
Pays
blue
got the
spell.
man his money. That's the only part I remember. Eating the Oreo cookies.
Rounders, one of the three Magic the Gathering movies.
Yeah.
The other two, in my mind, being Searching for Bobby Fischer, and for people that are really into stuff, Word Wars, which is the Scrabble movie.
That's not one that I know.
It's like watching Magic tournaments in a movie form. It's
Yeah, well, I know Searching for Bobby Fischer and Rounders. So
now we
Ben
are
resolves his
reassembling
top.
stuff.
Yeah.
The Sensei's Divining Top back into play.
right,
That was a huge war right there over that counterbalance.
it really was. Did AJ have to crack his Scalding Tarn and shuffle away his top? He obviously cracked the Tarn, but I'm wondering, did he shuffle away the top? I think he did.
In the combination of plays, I actually didn't catch that. I don't know.
It just occurred to me that I think he flipped the top to get the Pyroblast and then had to crack the Scalding Tarn to get Red Source to play the Pyroblast or the Pyroblast. Sorry, Pyro Hydro.
Pyro Redo
the blast.
Hydro.
The blast.
Blasto.
Exactly.
We got a Sensei's top. And AJ doubling the clock with activating Grim Lavamancer instead of attacking.
Seems reasonable.
Force of Will in hand, and I can't quite make out that top card. Is it a Vendilion Click? That it is.
And he's got a Polluted Delta Force of Will, I think, in hand.
Ben may be hard casting Force of Will here. Or brainstorming.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at three cards.
Let's see. I think
Dark Blast, I think.
Was there a Dark Blast?
I think there's a
right
Dark
in there?
Blast there. Dark Blast would make short work of this army. I got nothing. Got nothing.
Yeah. So he tops.
Did I see that right? No, it's a Thought
I was gonna
Seize.
say it looks like Thought Seize to me. And I think it is. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was a Thought Seize I saw there. Draw. Limduel's Vault. Yep, AJ correcting Ben, putting that Sensei's Divining Top on top of the library. Grim Lavamancer doing a nibble here.
So on Ben's side of the board, we have Bayou, Underground Sea, Swamp, Dark Depths, Academy Ruins, and Underground Sea, I believe, underneath that Academy Ruins.
Ben is looking to be in pretty poor shape here.
Yeah, on AJ's side, he's got an attacking Vendilion Click right now, and an active Grim Lavamancer, along with a Tormod's Crypt, and 2 Volcanic Islands, an island and a mountain.
Limb Duel's Vault, black, blue, instant. Basically, it's a limited tutor/impulse. Look at groups of 5 cards. Look at the top 5, rearrange the top of it, or put it on the bottom. If you put it on the bottom, lose a life, and then do it again. So you can go through your entire library if you've got enough life. Ben here has only 3 life. If he even pays it for it once, he's in trouble. So this means he's going to have only 1 look that he's going to be able to activate here. These 5 cards are the cards he's going to have to work with.
Limdul's Vault reminds me of...
Oh, look at that frown. That was not a happy face.
Reminds me of kind of like an ad nauseum, an ancestor of ad nauseum, and also Tainted Pact.
Good game. Good game. AJ giving a slight smile there.
Yeah, just barely enough time. I don't know. Did time run out and they just got an extension? Okay.